when I made such a fool of myself in front of them? Yes. Unless you take your place in it and fulfill your function as part of it, it is as bereft as you are. Now, you must understand that although you have to acknowledge that you're just part of the whole, a part that must fit in, and unless you yield to that, you won't abandon the practice of independence. And your mind will not be present to experience the singularity of creation, in which all of creation is you. And you do not experience being a part of it. But you will not get to the place of experiencing your integral connection with the whole until you're first willing to recognize and accept the fact that you're a part of it and that it's your function to fit in. It's not your function to be different from it all. That is not what your birthright is, and that is not what free will is all about. Free will isn't a capacity you have to stand up and be different from everything else. Free will, as we talked about last week, is the will that doesn't bind you or anything else. It is the Father's will to be. It is therefore the will to be that is at the very center of you. Not the will to be something, but the will to be. To be. And you might say, letting the chips fall where they may. It's not a will to be with control. It's a will to be conscious of whatever there is to be conscious of. God bees as mind. Mind cannot be mind without being conscious of something. And the only thing there is for it to be conscious of is the movement of its will to be. And so, mind, God, discovers at every moment anew what it is. And the wholeness of it is captured by the words, and God saw, or I'm going to say, and God sees everything that He is being. God, mind, sees the movement of mind and recognizes itself in it. And you know what? God, mind, stays with that experience without attempting to apply controls to it. Oh, I want that thing over there that's exquisite to be a little bit different. Oh, I want to look at it through lenses that distort it a little bit. God and you, when you're not practicing self-will, allow God and you allow for creation, the movement of being, to occur, and notice it, acknowledge it, and recognize yourself in. And never does any act of coercion come into play. Again, referring to the Holy Trinity, unless you take your place in it and fulfill your function as part of it, it is as bereft as you are. No part of it can be imprisoned. If its truth is to be known, rather than your preference, can you be separated from your identification and be at peace? Can you forget your identity? Seem to become an orphan and be at peace? Well, are you at peace? Is life a dream? Is life wonderful? Is life full of uninterrupted bliss and harmony? No, your experience of life right now answers that question. Can you be separated from your identification and be at peace? Dissociation, divorcement, is not a solution. It is what? A delusion. It's not even real. It's like a universal misperception. It isn't that it's actually universal, but it is that the only thing you have to be conscious of is the universal, and you're having a misperception of the universal. The delusional, those who insist upon the right to practice free will, which really means self-will, the delusional believe that truth will assail them. And so they do not see it because they prefer the delusion. Well, why would you think that truth would assail you? Well, if truth is going to reveal to you that your definitions that you've given everything are not true, that will seem to call the integrity of you, the authorizer of those definitions, into question. That's an attack. It's seen as a means of undermining your capacity to be an independent authorizer. And of course it is. But it's not attack. It's the truth, bringing the truth to your conscious awareness so that you might become free of a delusion. So that you might become free of a bondage that it's not appropriate for you to be experiencing. And you know what? The truth that's being revealed to you now is incredible, because it is saying with utter clarity to you that what you have called the practice of free will is what binds you, because in actuality it's a practice of self-will. And this practice of self-will is nothing more than a practice of self-defense. which reinforces your delusion that you are independent and separate, and absolutely blinds you to the place you hold in the wholeness of creation, in which no part of the wholeness of creation is unavailable to you. And therefore, in which you can experience the singularity of creation and find yourself at one with it all, and it all at one with you, causing you to experience selfhood as infinite. And because it's infinite, it's incapable of standing apart from anything, because there's no outside to infinity for you to stand up and be tall in, or bigger than infinity. The delusional believe that truth will assail them, and so they do not see it because they prefer the delusion. Judging truth as something they do not want, they perceive deception and block knowledge. And where do they perceive deception? Right where truth is present. Where do you guys see deception? You see it in each other. You look at each other and you believe that all of you are deceptive to one degree or another with each other, and therefore you've got to be on guard. They look at truth. They look at God. They look at me. They look at their guide. And they perceive either deception or potential deception. You see, God is going to nail me. God says He's love, but He's going to nail me. You see deception there. You look at truth, which says, there's a different way to be that is more fulfilling. But in order to experience it, you're going to have to be willing to abandon the right you think you have to authorize things, to be the authorizer of things. You're going to have to abandon the acts of independent authority that you have come to believe give you credibility and respectability and success. And you see that as deceptive. And here is where you love to bring out the biblical statement that if the spirits speak to you, test them. Test them. Because you don't know whether they're evil spirits or really spirit with a capital S. And so you justify not taking the risk of exploring what truth reveals to you because you are afraid that truth is deceptive. Judging truth as something they do not want, they perceive deception and what? Block knowledge. Knowledge means knowing with a capital K. It means the divine awareness of what really is. You block it. You simply block it. That's the result. Help them, your brothers and sisters, by offering them your unified will on their behalf. Be willing to remember for them. Help them by offering them your unified will on their behalf, as I am offering you mine on yours. And as has been brought out, whatever you give becomes yours. Alone we can do nothing, but together our wills fuse into something whose power is far beyond the power of its separate parts. By not being separate, the will is invincible because it is. By not being separate, the will of God is established in ours and as ours. And that's where self-will goes out of the picture. And that's what the ego screams loudly to you to ignore, because it knows it's the end of it. By not being separate, the will of God is established in ours and as ours. This will is invincible because it is undivided. The undivided will of the sonship is the perfect creator, being wholly in the likeness of God, whose will it is. You are also afraid of disappearing into the mix. If you yield, if you abandon your right to private self-existence, self-authorized self-existence. And what you don't realize is that your insistence upon your self-authorized self-existence is bondage. The undivided will of the sonship is the perfect creator, being wholly in the likeness of God, whose will it is. You cannot be exempt from it if you are to understand what it is and what you are. By separating your will from mine, you are exempting yourself from the will of God, which is yourself. Now, the human condition that you seem to be experiencing is a result of already having done that. And so we could say, instead of saying by separating your will from mine, we could say by not joining your will with mine, now that you know better, now that you know that is possible, you are exempting yourself from the will of God, which is yourself. So now you know that you have an option to the human condition. Now you know you have an option to what you've called free will, which now you know is really self-will, and which is the means by which you bind yourself to isolation. You know you have an option now. And intellectually you can grasp the wisdom of taking that option. But until you do it, you will be exempting yourself from the will of God, which is yourself. You will be exempting yourself from the conscious experience of what you really are, and you will be exempting yourself from remembering who you are. And until you remember who you are, even a little bit, even a glimpse, you won't be in a position of extending freedom to your brother. I know it seems like there are so many things for you to re-see, to look at and see again with new eyes. There are so many things that seem unlovely. There are so many whom you feel are not worthy of your love, quote, because of what they did, unquote, in the past. There are so many things to see anew, to re-see, that it's overwhelming and you couldn't possibly accomplish it. That is an illusion. All you have to do is begin to break the habit of misperceiving. Just begin to break the habit by doing something new with this little one, and this little thing, and that little thing. And see the transformation and the renewal. Just begin with the little things. But remember, the goal is, I wish to see the evidence of love. Not the evidence of hate, not the evidence of fear. And I wish to be the evidence of love. Not the evidence of frustration, not the evidence of fear, not the evidence of hate. Why? Because I wish to see the evidence of love here, meaning I wish to see healing here. I wish to see transformation in my world. I wish to see redemption. Mine, my brothers, the world's. You really do want to see something different from what you're experiencing right now. You want to experience it in a way that's different from the way you're experiencing it right now. You really do. So it's not hard if you don't forget that you really do want to see things differently. It's not hard to begin to take the small steps. I wish to see the evidence of love. I wish to be the evidence of love. Say those prayers and mean them. And remember That meaning them means that you will not continue to have the right to hold your brother to his past, or to hold your brother to your memories of the past. You will lose the freedom to be reactive to your misperceptions, whether they're relative to you or to your brother, because you want to see the evidence of love. And you want to be the evidence of love. Because you want to remember who you are. And I and each of your guides are here to help you remember. So refer to us when you're confronted by this opportunity or that opportunity or the other opportunity to see in a new way. Okay. I love you all. Why? Because I know who you really are. And it's not who you think you really are. I look forward to being with you next week.